but it's also episode 100. So welcome, Andrew. You're a very special guest.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here with you, Brew, and excited to talk to you. And I hope your listeners enjoy the show. I look forward to having a good time and digging in.
Me too. Me too. Well, let's start.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I would just shut up and let you to because it's such a unique story. I'm not gonna lie. Andrew, take it away, my friend.
Yeah. This story is quite incredible. It starts with me coming along to a place where I began seeking, through the course of events that happened in my life. I began seeking for meaning, for purpose, something beyond the normal, get a job, have 2.5 children, a house, a couple cars, mortgage and that stuff. I wanted to find out more. I had questions. I lived through a fatal car accident when I was young, and it just opened me up to wondering why I was saved, why my best friend wasn't, why I lived through this accident that should have killed me. And I started asking these really big questions. I started getting into conspiracy theories, which just wrecked my worldview, right? You think there's some of them that are true. There's lots of them that are just crazy and bogus. But I got to this point where I destroyed my old worldview and I was looking to rebuild it. And I found people who were asking these same big questions about the meaning of life, purpose, and spirituality. And I thought I had found a community that was really positive and that would help me. And it turned out that while I thought I had found people who were asking the big questions, and they weren't doing it in the way that they claim to be doing, in the sense that the one girl who led this team that I had found online and in a chat room claimed to be Mother God. She thought she was God. And fast forward to 2021, she ended up passing away, and the house was raided. They had 20-something followers living together, and they found her corpse mummified in a bedroom like a shrine, wrapped in Christmas lights and incense, children in the house, everybody arrested, and the story blew up. I had been a member years earlier in 2014, 2015. I found out about it because my phone rang and it was, hey, this is so-and-so from Fox News Denver. We wanted your comment on everything that happened with Love Has Won. And I said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I left in 2015. I haven't watched. What do you mean?
So Love Is One.
That's when she dropped it on
the
me.
Cult, right?
Yes,
Okay.
Love Has Won is the cult. And that's when she told me about the craziness that had happened. And just like that, everything I had gone through came roaring back. And that brings us here after I wrote my book. I've had to relive the experience, and the more I've talked about it and think about it, the crazier I realize it is. So that brings us here today, where I'm discussing the story, telling people about it, and hopefully passing on a message of perseverance, of finding oneself, of truth, finding God for real, not any fake gods, and just living with purpose and enjoying your life. That's what I'm about.
Wow, let's do that. It's a beautiful message. Let's spread it. So let's start from the beginning. You mentioned some conspiracy theories there. I mean,
Yeah.
aren't they all real? What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're all true. That's the problem. Conspiracy theories and cults really go together well, because you find that the cults are the ones asking all of these big questions. Normal people don't even want to pay attention to them. They don't want to think about them, or they don't believe them. They're busy with their jobs. They have nice lives. They don't want to think about that stuff. They just go on, to each their own. But you find that when you find a community of people who are asking these big questions, more often than not, they have a lot of cultish leanings or the makings of a cult. And in this case, the community that I found was very much a cult. I didn't know it or realize it at first, but I ended up joining. I left everything behind and physically joined them as they lived together, running their websites, sharing information. And before I knew it, I was surrounded by delusion, by a woman who thought she was God. She told me I was meant to be Father God to her Mother God. And that's when things started to get crazy for me. I eventually figured it out, stayed and tried to dismantle everything from the inside. I tried to snap her out of it. I was there for about 10 months. It didn't work, but man, it was crazy in the interim, and we can get into all that. It was a wild experience.
Ah, I can't wait, man. So, uh, what kind of conspiracy theories though they lured you in? What was so appealing? Like, what is this? What which secret were they were trying to reveal to the world or unveil to you?
Yeah, so the big overarching theme, the one that I agreed with and that really pulled me towards them was this idea of a reckoning coming of, the Christians would call it rapture, the return of Jesus Christ, the return of love, harmony, and peace on earth, this transformational moment that in the spiritual community, some call it the event, where there will be a big flash of light in the sky and everything will change, where evil will be vanquished from the face of the earth forever, and we will move into a golden age with advanced technologies, healing, peace on earth,
So
all of these amazing things.
it's
And
like the Avengers came to Earth. Like we're literally.
yeah, in a way, I guess you could say that. And, that was my idea, my intention to help bring love, peace, awakening, purpose in a meaningful way to the planet. And that's what I wanted to get down with. But what slowly happened, and maybe not so slowly, was that this message became convoluted, and it became more about following her, this girl who claimed to be Mother God. She made herself the center of the story rather than it being about serving and helping humanity to awaken and to bring about this golden age just through, the osmosis of awakening. Instead, it became about her. And that's where things really started to get out of line, unfortunately. But to answer your question, as far as any other conspiracy theories, I think for me, the big one was 9/11. I was there for it, not that day, but I live very close to New York City. I grew up in New York City. Every time I ever passed those towers, I got a sick feeling in my stomach. We lived in such close proximity that every child in my school, at least there was at least one kid in my school who had a parent that worked in those towers, because there were some 50,000 people or more that worked in those towers. So we were so close that everybody knew somebody whose parent had worked in those towers. So it was very traumatic for us in school that day, when 9/11 happened. And that was probably, for me personally, the number one conspiracy theory that began my search into more conspiracy theories. And I came to a place where I did start believing that they were all true, because I didn't believe anything I had been taught. I thought it was all lies. And it really made me the perfect target for somebody like Amy Carlson, aka Mother God, to come in and say, follow me, I have the answers, just follow what I say. I'll teach you to grow spiritually. And, for all the big questions that I had, she claimed to have the answer for everything. And I wasn't the only person that she was able to take advantage of in this way.
I mean, what was her answer for the 9/11 then? What?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't focus on the conspiracy theories much anymore, but I think I do agree with her as far as she didn't really have an answer herself, But I mean, if you even look, there's architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, which is
Mm.
not a bunch of quacks. These are architects and engineers, men with degrees who have been building buildings for decades, who are very well known, who all have signed their name to paper to say that the official narrative that we have been fed about 9/11, not that it's not only not true, but it's physically impossible for it to have worked the way they say. And because of that, that was the one thing that really began to collapse my belief in the institutions. And that began a domino effect. Excuse
Oh,
me,
you dropped something.
my mic dropped. Yeah,
Your
that
mic
that
dropped.
began that began a domino effect that really started everything. I had some really crazy spiritual experiences as well, and in the couple weeks leading up to joining the group, and without those experiences, I would have never joined the group. But when they happened, I felt like I was actually being guided in that direction, and just the way it all unfolded, it felt like that was the direction I had to go in joining the team. And 10 years later, despite everything that happened, I'm actually glad I did join because I learned so much. I grew so much from it. I didn't find the growth I was looking for, at least not in the way